Hello and welcome to this episode of Your Business in HD. I am your host, Jen Dice, human design coach and marketing strategist. And I help women in business get crystal clear on who they are so that they can infuse more of their strengths, talents, and gifts into their business to create that hell yes life of their dreams. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to talk to you guys about a little topic because as I am recording this, I am heading into a busy season. And if you're listening back to this, this could be any busy season. This could be before you are entering the summer season, back to school, the holidays, the new year, these busier times of year, and or just any portion of any sort of milestone or shift or change in your year where you are facing just, I need to get my crap together to feel a little bit more organized, a little bit more streamlined, and get my time under control. So today I'm going to be chatting about mastering time management through human design. And so just to give you a little bit of kind of where this topic or this chat idea is coming from. I know for myself, when I am entering these busier seasons, like for example, kids getting out of school and getting ready for summer, or getting ready for the holiday break, or getting ready to go back to school, or the new year, these busier times of year, I know that I personally end up feeling this sense of like, I'm really busy, but I'm not sure what I got done. Like, I feel like what I had established, or the routine and the schedule and the structure I had established, is starting to maybe slip through my fingers a little bit. Maybe I need to refine it a little bit, or maybe I need to really adjust it because there's some changes coming that I need to make sure that I have really set up a way to be present for those changes. Maybe like for me, I know when I'm feeling like this, or this need to refresh and kind of get a handle on just looking at my time management, looking at my schedule again, I'm feeling tired and drained at the end of the day. I'm feeling more and more of that as the weeks go on, or as the days go on. And I'm really desiring to feel lighter about my day. I want to feel lighter about my week. I want to wake up and not feel like, this sense of stress or anxiety. I want to feel excited about everything. And I want to feel accomplished at the end of the day. I want to close my laptop when I said I'm going to close it. And I want to feel like I got the most important things done. And just to give you a little background on this, there was a period in my business background too. So I've run a Pinterest management company before I started this silo of my business with the human design coaching and the marketing strategy. I ran a Pinterest company, but I also did some time management coaching inside of another coach's course container. And so sometimes, and I'm not perfect, I will say this right now, even though I have coached on time management, I have led people through this, I am not perfect. I have to do this over and over and over again. So it's the same thing, like when I coach my clients through their human design and starting to help them uncover more pieces of themselves, I still am working and refining myself with my own human design too. And it's not perfect. It is ever evolving. Your time management and really mastering management, that structure, and that works for you, is just a skill that you're going to continue to evolve and hone in on, because life doesn't stay the same. Our kids grow up, seasons change, school years shift and change. Our needs change. Maybe you move, maybe you just like we're never staying in one place. So really figuring out how to master your time management, but not just that. When you pull in the piece of like layering with your human design into the mix, it really makes it that much more powerful, because you're bringing in another element that is you. You're not just following some of the tips and the strategies of time management that I'll talk to you guys about today, or just in this episode, but you'll be able to pull in pieces that make you unique to the process. And so again, what are we chatting about today? So today we are talking about mastering time management through human design, because I am all about, I love time management. I'm one of those people where I love calendars. I love planners. I love to color code things. I love to highlight things. I love to plan it. So I love to plan all the things. I'm not always perfect about sticking to the plan, but I love the activity and planning and having that structure or that strategy just to approaching my day. But I also love bringing in and bringing in that piece of your human design, that's what's going to give you the permission to do things in a way that to have the structure, to have the framework, but to say, okay, I'm going to tweak it just a little bit here because this works for me. Or I'm going to do things I'm going to just kind of pivot it this way or shift over here or add in this element, or I'm going to just work on it this way because this feels like it's going to work for me at this point in my life, at this point in time. And so here are some things that I want you guys here are some key takeaways I want you guys to be asking yourself. If you're on the front of things are going to change with my schedule, I have different needs that are coming, let's just give this example. Kids are getting out of school and we're transitioning from the school season to summer season, which in that specific transition, you're moving from structure to potentially less structure because, if your kids were in school all school year and now they're going to be home with you, you're needing a different setup. You're needing a different kind of structure. So instead of just kind of rolling with it and letting life kind of take over and be the driver of what your schedule looks like, which is, yes, you want to be present for those things, but you don't necessarily want your life to run the show. Because if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you work from home, you still want to have some structure. So you still feel like you're still moving forward, but you're giving yourself more space. You're creating more space and you're able to continue to feel like you're getting things done. You're feeling accomplished, but you're also having that structure that allows that freedom for you to be present for the things that you really want to be present for in the season. So for example, if it's summer break, you're going to be present for more things that are happening with your kids being home, or more family trips, or more travel. So it's creating that. So mastering your time management and understanding from a human design perspective how that all blends together is going to help you create that schedule or that structure to manage your time over the summer without feeling that sense of guilt, or without feeling like you're not doing enough, or without just being completely disorganized and because I've done that too in summers past, where I have tried, and sometimes we even tell ourselves, well, I'm just going to stick to my normal schedule and my kids are home. That's okay. I can still work the same amount of hours, the same amount of time, the same amount of focus as what I was doing when they weren't at home. Or, it's the same thing. If you're getting ready to go back to school, that's another shift and another challenge. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, where we're looking at this shift in your time management. So how does that work for you? How does this break down? So some takeaways and some things I want you guys to be thinking about. If this is you, if you can relate to this feeling, or if this is a season you're entering into as you're listening to this recording, the first thing I want you to do is get a baseline. So here I'm also bringing in just some of my skills, so another background, prior to me starting my online business, I worked as a physical therapist for 13 years. And these skills get pulled into the work that I do with my clients because we're going to establish a baseline. Why do we want to establish a baseline? So a baseline is just going to tell us what's working and what's not working. So with my patients, when I was working out my physical therapy career, it was, you establish a baseline. So where are you at today? What is working for you today? What is the problem that you're facing today? And by getting that baseline, it gives us that starting point of what we're hoping to accomplish by the end of overhauling your calendar, or just setting your schedule for the next season, for summer, for back to school, for whatever you're facing. And so you're looking at what's working, what's not. Time tracking can be a help with this. Looking at what's on your to-do list is another good thing to look at this. But this is all important because it just helps you figure out where you're starting from. Because if you have no idea where you're starting from, you're not going to be able to look back and see the progress that you've made. And then you're going to be eternally frustrated that nothing is working. So you have to have these mile markers. You have to have these checkpoints. And when you're first getting started with okay, something is not working, something needs to change. What is the baseline? Where are we at today? What's working? What's not? And when it comes to time management, time tracking. I have done this before when I did time management coaching in that program. That was one of the things that we covered, is like every so often going back and like literally tracking using an app like Toggle, or even just writing down, like it's almost like a food log where you're tracking what you're doing, and then you go back and see what your time is actually going. And it's very shocking to see where you're spending your time, and where you're like, when you think you're being productive and doing work, you're actually kind of see where you're wasting time. So you can see where the gaps are. So getting that baseline is the first step I want you to take when it comes to like mastering your time management. So that's kind of like a very easy, very simple first step. If you're going to do time tracking, you can do this. Like I would say, like you can track yourself for a week, like a work week, a Monday to Friday, and just see where your time is going. And that's going to give you a lot of information when you look back to figure out what's going forward, but also figuring out like what is working, just asking yourself those questions, and like writing those out, brainstorming, however your brain works. Like ask yourself the question, what is working for me right now? And then just whatever comes to mind, write that out, just journal that out. What's not working for me right now? Where are you feeling like you're hitting blocks? You're feeling like you're feeling drained. What is not working for me right now? And that can give you some insights. And all of this information is just a part of where you're at today. The second tip I want to give you guys when it comes to mastering your time management through your human design, it's a little bit more related to that progress. So it's like, where you're at, where do you want to go? So asking yourself, what type of progress is most important to you? Not like necessarily like, where do I want to be in a month, but it's like, what type of progress is most important to you? When we say type of progress, you can kind of journal on this a little bit and kind of paint a picture for yourself of what do you want your day to look like? What do you want your workload to look like? What do you want your schedule to look like? How do you want to feel at the end of a Monday? How do you want to feel waking up on Monday? How do you want to feel on Thursday or Friday? Those types of questions of like, what is the most important, like what progress is most important to you, is important because it helps you figure out where you want to go, not where somebody else is going to tell you you should go, but you figure out what your important like end result is and what's most important to you. So for example, again, if we're looking at summertime, we're looking at transitioning from like school getting out and we're going into the summer season and our kids are home. What is most important to you? How do you want to feel on June 30th when you wake up in the morning? How do you want to feel on just a random Monday in the summer, going into a work week in the summer? How do you want to feel on a Friday? How do you want to feel like during the week? What do you picture your days to look like? And we're not even starting to bring your human design into this yet, because we're really just diving into what you want, what isn't working for you, what you desire to create for yourself. And human design is just going to help shine a light on just how some of the strengths and the tools and the ways that you could create this. And so that's why we're kind of like building up towards that. So that's kind of that second question, is what type of progress is most important to you? And then the third piece, this is where we do pull in your human design. And this is where you look at your human design, just starting with your human design type. That is there's a lot of layers you can go. And the more you know, obviously, the more you can pull into this process. But just if you're just tuning in and you're just kind of like, what's the simplest way to get started with leveraging my human design to help me with my time management, my schedule, this summer or this holiday season or back to school season, like looking at your specific human design type and understanding a little bit more about what it means to you to be that human design type. So, and I say that just because I don't want you to say, okay, so for example, for myself, I'm a generator. I don't want to just put the label of, okay, I'm a generator, so that means XYZ. It's like, no, what my type of generator, I am a different type of generator than my youngest daughter is a generator. She's a completely different generator than I am. I can tell you that right now. She's a completely different human being. She's a completely different personality. So for me, as a human design, a generator in the human design system, knowing that about myself, also knowing a little bit more about my authority, knowing how I personally prefer to work and personally prefer to structure my days. Those are pieces you can bring into it, but just knowing that about myself, being that generator, and knowing that I need to create my work that I do and how I do it, I need to set it up in a way that I am excited about it. And this can also, you can get very, very, a little bit more specific too. So like you could look at more at when are you a little bit more focused. That can help guide you as to when you're setting up, structuring certain types of work that you're doing. When you tend to kind of fade a little bit as the day goes on, or if you're a slower start to the morning, structuring your workday around that ebb and flow that you have naturally. And that gets a little bit deeper into your chart aside from just your human design type, but just for the purposes of this recording and this training is just looking at your human design type, but not taking it at surface level. So if you're a projector, what does it mean to you? Like, how does being a projector, what does that mean to you? Because you are a different projector than somebody else that's a projector that's also listening to this. So how can you pull in ways that you can structure your day to be a little bit more efficient, to stay in your zone of genius and be that guide for the people that you're seeing, for the work that you're doing? How can you stay inside of your zone of genius so that you can kind of compress the work that you're doing and work in those blocks of time that are most efficient to you? If you're a generator, how can you structure your day in a way that you are approaching things that are exciting to you, or you're creating those activities and tasks in a way that are exciting to you, or you're only sticking to the work that really is exciting and lights you up, and you're delegating other things, or you're sticking to how your energy ebbs and flows through the day, and you're structuring key pieces of work, calls with clients, admin work, marketing work, creative work, those types of things. Where do you energetically feel that those work for you when you're structuring your day? So kind of looking at your energy type and in the human design system, knowing how your energy ebbs and flows, knowing, again, you can look at your type, you can look at your authority, and seeing how you can lean into your authority to help make those decisions. This is important because it gives you an added layer of information about how you're uniquely designed to complete things. And just because we're adding in human design doesn't mean you stick to the rigid, like, I am a human design XYZ, so therefore everything has to look this way. It's like, no, it's taking what you know and interpreting it through your own lens, because that's the freedom of really being able to take that information and tune into and see what your own inner guidance has to say about it, and trusting that. And this also, as you're going through this process of, because time management, it's a structured thing. It can be like, I feel very like structured and rigid, and you have to do things a certain way. Bullshit. No, you don't. You can look at the pieces of it, the elements of the time management piece, but look at the elements of your human design and give yourself permission to lean into where you know you're most productive, where you know you can, and where you know you need to set boundaries, right? And lean into those pieces of what you know is right for you, and let everything else go. And so that's like this permission to utilize some of the basic principles of time management, like time tracking, what's working, baseline goals, like where you are today, where do you want to go? And then how can we structure our day? How can we structure routines and have all that stuff, but pulling in your human design, because you know, nobody else knows how you best show up, how you are more, how you show up in a way that's exciting for the work that you do, that's in your specific zone of genius, that is, you're able to kind of be the inspiration for others. You're able to be that guide for others. You're able to be that uplifter of others. You're able to do the work that lights you up in a way that works for you when you're feeling like you have the energy to complete it. You have the focus to complete it. It's done in a way that works for you. One projector is not going to look like, there's some projectors that are still going to be able to do like 6-7 hour days and be just fine with it, where there's other generators that don't necessarily have that energy all the time to do these 8-hour days, even though traditionally human design says if you're a generator, you have all the energy in the world. That is bullshit. I can tell you that right now. And it just rings true of like, you have to figure out how your energy ebbs and flows how you're going to be able to best show up and get the most important things done that need to get done in the work blocks that you have set, but also establishing those boundaries so that you're able to work in a way that works for you. And then when it's done, you can be done and you can be present for the other things that are most important to you too, because you're pulling in those other pieces of figuring out, like, that's a part of what you want. When you're looking at the progress you're wanting to create, you're looking at where you want to go. That's what's important too, is making sure that you're doing that as well. And you're pulling in all of these pieces, the pieces of the time management, the pieces of like working on your structure, pulling in what's important to you. What do you want to be present for? What do you want to do less of this summer and do more of this summer, or less of in the back to school season or the holiday season and more of during that time? So those are all important questions to ask yourself. And human design gets to be a piece of it. It's just an added layer, an added tool, a very helpful tool. And so the more you know about that, the more you have that permission to apply it in a way that works for you. And then you just continue to evolve it, continue to refine it, and continue to create from it in a way that works for you. So I hope this was helpful. And if this brought up more questions and answers, if you're like, I love this idea of bringing in human design, but I'm not sure what it is or how to get started, or I need a little bit of a refresher, click the link in the notes that come with this video training. And there is a way that you can get started or get a little refresher on how to just some of the basics around your human design. So make sure you grab that. I'll drop the link for you guys in the notes below here. And thank you again so much for joining me for this episode of Your Business in HD. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Bye.